Okay. So today we'll be talking about biosensors. Okay. Now, biosensor is an analytical device that uses immobilized materials, live materials like enzymes, cells, hormones, organelles, etc., which can specifically interact with the substrate, say for example, glucose, urea, etc., and produce a signal. It can be a physical signal, chemical signal, or electrical signal in such a way that we can measure it out. Okay. An analyte would be any compound like glucose, urea, drug, pesticide, whose concentration has to be measured. Okay. Now, biosensors generally are used to measure any substance quantitatively. I don't want qualitatively, I want quantitatively. मतलब कितना concentration है उस प्रोडक्ट का, मुझे जो भी चीज टेस्ट करनी है उसमें. Okay. A majority of these biosensors have immobilized enzymes on them. All right. So now again I am going to present you my screen so that we can draw and learn about the biosensors. Okay. Give me a moment, please. Can you see my screen now? Yes. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now you'll be able to see. So what we are talking about today is the formation manufacture of biosensors. Now, why is it called a biosensor? Is because it contains a biological material which is used to sense the things. Now, what is that biological material? That can be your enzymes, organelles, whole cells, or two or three enzymes combined together on an inert surface. Okay. So, when I draw a biosensor, I have certain components in it. Okay. So, the first component that I'm going to have, what is happening, is an inert material which is this. Okay. Then I will have an immobilized enzyme or organelle or any particular enzyme system onto this substrate, so that when I add my substrate, these enzymes react and give me a product. So what do I do is, this is my inert material. This here is my enzyme, immobilized enzyme. And to this, say for example, sorry, I have a substrate like this. So please remember, this is my substrate, okay? Please remember, when I have a sample, that sample is going to contain lots of different things. Like for example, if I talk about blood and I have to check for sugar, my blood is going to have glucose as well as other materials in it. So I have to design a biosensor which is specific for that. So I add an enzyme which will react only with glucose. Okay. Now this inert material will also contain some other materials such that now it will become electrically or optically active. So optically or electrically active. If you see carefully, I have two surfaces. So this one is my inert material. To it, I have attached my optically or electrically active surface such that if there is a reaction between, say, this substrate and this enzyme, then depending upon the outcome, this material will be able to recognize it. So what do I have now is this electrically or optically active material will now amplify. So what I will add is an amplifier. Please remember, amount of signal that will be produced by these biosensors is very, 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 very small, because the amount of uh, test material would also be pretty small. Therefore, I'm going to need a amplifier to it. After I amplify the signal, it can be optical amplification or electrical amplification. That signal will be sent to the processor, and from the processor, it will go on to the display. What I am doing here in processor is the amplified signal will be in, yes, इलेक्ट्रिकल सिग्नल है, राइट? एम्पलीफायर के पास जो सिग्नल आया दैट इज इलेक्ट्रिकल. So that you have to convert it into binary digits, which will be done by the processor and then displayed onto your computer screen. Okay. So now when we look at this entire structure of a biosensor, we can say that the biosensor has two distinct components. One is your biological component, which is my enzyme, or it is my cell which has been immobilized on this electrically or optically active substance. And the second part, of very important part of this biosensor, is a physical part, that is physical component, which means my amplifier, my processor, and my display. Okay. Now what will happen, or how this biosensor functions, is the biological component is going to identify my test substance or my analyte. So if I have to identify the amount of glucose, I will add glucose oxidase here, attach it with, say for example, a fluorescent substance or a substance which gives out electrical activity when my enzyme reacts with the substrate. Okay. And then my physical component, that is my amplifier, processor, and display, will convert these signals into computer readable language, which is my binary language, that is 01100, and that will then be converted into digital signal, thereby giving us a display. Okay. Now if I have to say, for example, uh, write the principle of biosensor, then what will I write? The desired biological material is immobilized by conventional methods, like for example, physical methods, or by chemical methods, or by membrane entrapments. This immobilized biological material will then come into contact with the analyte, which is this, and give out a signal. Now, what kind of signal? The analyte binds with the immobilized material, in turn produces electronic signals which can then be read by the processor. Of course, first we will have to amplify, क्योंकि ये जो बायोसेंसर्स है ये ऐसे प्रोसेसेस में यूज होते हैं जहां पर जो एनालाइट है उसका कॉन्सेंट्रेशन बहुत कम होता है, और नॉर्मल केमिकल एसेस के थ्रू हम उसको देख नहीं सकते या उसका कॉन्सेंट्रेशन जो है वो डिवाइस नहीं कर सकते. सो इन सच केसेस वी यूज बायोसेंसर्स. So therefore an amplifier is necessary. Okay. So what am I looking at here? I am looking at a reaction which will look something like this. So I have my biological material. plus I have my analyte. Those two together will do what? I will have a bound analyte. This binding in turn will give out a biological response. This biological response will then be converted into an electrical response. Sorry, not electrical, electronic response. This electronic response then will go for a measurement. This is how my biosensor is going to work. This is the stepwise mechanism of it. So I have my optically active material to which I have immobilized my biological material. The biological material reacts with the analyte, gives an electronic signal which is amplified using an amplifier, which is processed using a processor, and then it is displayed on the computer screen or the device screen. Are we clear? Say yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Now, when we talk about these biosensors, there are various different types of biosensors. Okay. There are several different types based on what biological material we are using, what analyte we have to search for, etc. So, a few of them we are going to discuss so that you get a brief idea as to what different types of biosensors are available in the market and how we can create a biosensor. Okay? The trick for creating a biosensor is to get a purified enzyme or a purified biological substance and stick it to a electronically active or electrically active surface such that we get a signal. Okay? So first of all, we are going to look at electrochemical biosensors. Okay? Electrochemical biosensors. Okay, I have not shared my screen. Present now. Okay. So we will be first talking about electrochemical sensors. Okay. Now, what do I mean by electrochemical biosensor is I will be measuring the electric current that has been formed when my analyte reacts or attaches itself to the biological substance. Okay. So under this also we have different types or subtypes, I would say. The first type is amperoteric or amperometric biosensor. Amperometric biosensor. Second type is potentiometric biosensor. Potentiometric biosensor. Third type is my conductimetric biosensor. Conductimetric biosensor. So under the category of electrochemical biosensors, we have amperometric, potentiometric, and conductimetric biosensors. So we will be looking at all of these one by one now. So the first one is amperometric biosensors. Now these amperometric biosensors here are based on the movement of electrons. So how movement? They are based on how the electrons are going to move from one place to another and thereby determine the electric current. Now, this movement of electrons would be because of an enzyme analyte reaction or a redox reaction, enzyme catalyzed redox reaction. That is, in redox reaction, what happens? Yes,
Oxidation reduction.
oxidation and reduction. So, therefore, while doing oxidation and reduction, there is obviously going to be a movement of electrons, correct? So, this movement will be
Yes, ma'am.
this movement will be seen by looking at the change in the voltage of the system. Okay. So, in an enzymatic reaction that occurs, the substrate of the product can transfer an electron with the electrode surface to be oxidized or reduced. Now, when this movement occurs, there is always a change in the voltage of the entire system, or this results in a alternative current flow that can be measured. The amount of current that happens, or the amount of current, is directly proportional to the amount of analyte present in your test sample. Okay, for example, the electrode which determines reduction of oxygen is the simplest example of an amperometric uh, biosensor. Yeah, for example, determination of glucose, blood glucose levels. They are also an example of amperometric biosensor. So let us look at what actually is happening in case of amperometric biosensors. So I have a biosensor. किधर गया? 1, 2. So this is my biosensor. Okay. So on this side, I'm going to have my immobilized enzyme. Since we are talking about blood glucose level, let us say this is glucose oxidase enzyme. On this side, I will have my analyte. This is blood which contains glucose. So this is my glucose molecule. Okay. Now what will happen is after my enzyme and substrate react, I will have a product formation. Say this is my product like this. And since this product is getting formed, there will be the change in the electrons. Okay. And a current, you mind. So this is my electron. Now what people do is they add an electrode here. Electrode matlab cathode ya anode depending upon what system you are creating. So this here is my electrode. Now what will the electrode do? After this electron goes and binds to this electrode, there will be change in the number of electrons in the electrode, thereby generating a current which can be measured. So this is my current that has been generated. Okay. And this current then will be measured using computers and we will get our result. So please remember, if I say, for example, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 molecules of glucose here, and after product formation, 1 electron is generated, then I will have a proportionate current getting generated, which can be measured. So if I have a current, say 5 milliamp, so I can directly say that my 5 milliamp current is because of the 5 molecules of glucose in the sample. So if I have say 10 molecules of glucose, then the current generated should be 10 milliamp. So depending upon the current generated, you can actually count the number of molecules that are present in your test sample. Okay. Now, if we look at the blood glucose biosensor, what it looks like a pen with a needle, right? You prick it and जो blood उस sensor की strip पे पड़ता है उससे आपको reading आता है. Okay. So what does that strip have? It has an electrode which is silver chloride electrode. Okay, so here we are talking about an electrode which is silver and silver chloride electrode. So this AgAgCl is a reference electrode, and what actually you have is a carbon electrode. Okay, so we are going to have two electrodes, one which will be my reference electrode, that is silver chloride, and second one is my actual electrode which is carbon. So why do I need the reference electrode is because मुझे पता है कि इतना करंट अगर जनरेट हुआ, से फॉर एग्जांपल 5 मिली एम्प, तो AgAgCl से 6 या 7 इलेक्ट्रॉन्स निकलेंगे, पर मुझे कार्बन का पता नहीं है. सो 5 मिली एम्प अगर करंट निकला, so I can refer to the standards that have been set and I can back calculate the concentration of glucose. Okay, now the enzyme used here is glucose oxidase and a derivative of ferrocene as a mediator. Okay, so I have a mediator, I have my enzyme which is glucose oxidase, I have an electrode system where I have AgAgCl and carbon electrodes. Okay, these electrodes here are covered with a hydrophilic mesh for the even spreading of the blood. So what will happen is this entire thing, ये यहाँ पर इतना बहुत बड़ा लग रहा है पर वो बहुत छोटा होता है. You have seen those strips, right? So एक के ऊपर एक overlap होता है. So the moment blood drops on the strips, what will happen? This blood glucose is going to attach to this glucose oxidase. The glucose oxidase will oxidize glucose, releasing an electron, right? This electron will then go and this electron will then go and bind to your electrodes, thereby changing their electronical configuration and thereby forming a current which can then be measured. Okay, now this blood glucose biosensor is a second generation amperometric biosensor. Okay, now what is the difference between a first generation amperometric biosensor and a second generation is that in second generation we have a mediator. In this case we have ferrocene, so that this reaction will occur quickly and stably and the amount of current generated could be relied upon. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए ना कि सेम बंदे का ब्लड लिया और एक स्ट्रिप पे मुझे से 80 mg का रीडिंग आया, दूसरे स्ट्रिप पे मुझे 90 mg का रीडिंग आया, तीसरे स्ट्रिप पे मुझे 100 mg का रीडिंग आया. All the strips should give me the same reading. So therefore, to mediate proper electron travel or to mediate a constant procedure or to mediate the procedure at the same time or similar time intervals, we add a mediator in a second generation amperometric biosensor. Okay, second type of biosensors are the potentiometric biosensors. Okay, in these biosensors, changes in the ionic concentrations are determined using ion selective electrodes, like for example a pH electrode. So my pH electrode is an example of a potentiometric electrode. Okay, other type of electrodes could be ammonium selective and carbon dioxide selective electrodes. Okay, the potential difference obtained between the potentiometric electrode and the reference electrode can be measured and converted into the actual reading. This is the difference between the potentials of both the electrodes is proportional to the concentration of the substrate that is available. Okay, so now let us draw a diagram for our potentiometric biosensors. Okay, so what do I have? I have a material where I have my immobilized enzyme or cell or any biological material for that matter. See, this is my immobilized thing. I have my substrate here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These react with one another and give me a product. So this is my product here. Now this product formation, we are going to measure the potential difference, right? So what we are supposed to measure here is the H plus ion concentration. Okay. So now I will have an electrode here like this, another one like this, where these are my potentiometric electrodes, and the end result would be that I have to measure the potential difference between the reference electrode and the actual electrode. So this is my potential that I have to measure. Okay. The best example of this is the ion selective electrodes, or we call it as ion selective field effect transistors, ISFET. ISFET, which is my ion selective field effect transistor. Okay. These are the low cost devices which can be used to measure potentiometric things, or which can be used for miniaturization of potentiometric biosensors. A good example is used to monitor the intramyocardial pH during the open heart surgery. So ISFET can be used when there is a very little difference in the potential of the reference electrode and the actual potentiometric electrode. So what we are using here or measuring here is the H plus ion concentration. And finally, we have conductimetric biosensors. Okay. Now, there are several biological reactions that bring changes in the ionic concentrations of the species, or changes in the ionic species themselves. Now, these ionic species alter the electrical conductivity of a material, which then can be measured. The example here is a urea biosensor. Okay. So, what do I do is I have a biosensor which measures urea plus water, H2, sorry, CH2O, that will give me, in presence of course, urease enzyme. Sorry, just give me a minute. Urease enzyme. It will give me 2NH4 plus HCO3 minus and OH minus. Okay. Now this urease enzyme does what? It looks for the changes in the substance itself. So when I have urea, which is my NH2 C double bond O NH2, and I react it with water, I get 2NH4 plus HCO3 minus and OH minus. So this 2NH4 plus will be measured. Okay. And then the conductance of the material will be seen, because see, when you change urea to NH4 plus, the conductivity of the material increases, more amount of electric impulse can be passed through it, and therefore we measure the conductivity of that change in the conductivity of the material. In the above reaction, we can see a drastic alteration in ionic concentrations, which can be used to look at the urea concentration of the sample. Okay. In fact, these biosensors, that is urea biosensors, are very helpful when we have to look for urea during dialysis, because our kidneys don't function properly. So there is always an increased amount of urea, and therefore what will happen is the concentration of urea will keep on changing, and therefore these biosensors can be used. Now, please remember that these biochips or biosensors, as we call it, are very small in size. Therefore, it comes very handy when you have to deal with the human body. So things like glucose, urea, creatinine can be measured using biosensors alone. Okay. So with this, we stop for the day.